Gaines is back today, and my special guest is Julian Griffith. Julian is most known for his role in Hardball, but I bet you didn't know that he was also a pro baseball player and a businessman as well. Julian, thank you for being on.
Hey, thank you for having me. Appreciate it, man.
Right. So the first thing, let's just go over your background, man. Where you're from and how you got started into acting.
Well, I'm from Chicagoland area. Born in Chicago, raised in Bellwood, which is right outside of west suburbs of Chicago. I got into acting 3 years old. So my mom had us auditioning for things. I think, man, what was my earliest thing? Losing Isaiah with Halle Berry.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was one of my first. She had us audition. I'm an identical twin, so she got both of us in the industry very early. So 3 years old, started off doing print ad modeling at around 5 years old. So pretty much the kids in your school books were holding clocks and all that type of stuff, and your math books and everything. I was doing that stuff before I actually got my first acting role. So that was my early work. So we were auditioning, but that was where it was going. Being an identical twin, they wanted more of that, physicality.
Oh, okay.
So I started. My first role was Hardball at 10 years old. At 10, so that was a 7-year gap of auditioning before we landed that opportunity.
Before you landed the big one, huh?
Yes, and then that was my first one, and that was the big one. Yeah.
So then getting into that role, obviously you being from Chicago, I imagine they filmed the movie pretty much in the heart of Chicago, right?
Yes, we filmed it in on the west side of Chicago, in my old stomping ground. So a lot of the extras, background people that were in there actually were former students of my mom, maybe parents, because my mom's a retired educator from Chicago Public Schools. So a lot of the people who were in the background, a lot of these scenes were people that either I was familiar with or my mom taught or she was familiar with. So that was a blessing in itself. So everybody got to experience that opportunity together.
So yeah, everybody almost got a little piece of it in a sense.
Absolutely.
And so auditioning, what was that like, trying to beat out so many kids, especially just in that area? I imagine people flew in to audition as well. So what was that like?
We were told they had auditions in Chicago, of course, New York, and I think LA. My audition process was, I didn't even hear about it from my agent. My mom's friend heard about it. They were looking for Black kids in Chicago to play baseball in a movie. And I started playing baseball when I was 7 years old. So her friend told us, and they said, hey, they have an open calls, and it's a mall called Evergreen Plaza Mall out here. And it was 10,000 kids overall. We were told that they auditioned over 10,000 kids in all of them, but it was thousands of kids in Evergreen. So just in the Chicago one, since this is where they're filming it, so they're primarily looking for most Chicago-based talent. So we go to this audition, man. I'm a shy kid anyway. I was very shy, even though I'm acting, right? It's ironic. But Julian was shy. Me being somebody else, I could do that, back then. So I remember going in there, the audition piece, which was my essay in the movie, the whole banditos and getting jumped. That was right. The audition piece. I had asthma in real life, for real. So literally this role was pretty much designed for me back then. And I go in, I read. My twin was also auditioning as well, so he was up for the role as well. I go in, they say, hey man, wait here. They say, hey, this is an acting coach. They introduce me to this acting coach. They say he's going to practice you in front of a mirror. Practice them in front of a mirror. We want you to come back in and read it. And so I did it. Come back in, in the typical process. Hey, thanks for coming. We'll be in touch. Yeah. after that, fast forward, long story short, I had 6 more auditions. So I think 7 auditions, 6 callbacks, 7 auditions total before I officially got the role. My brother was still up for it. There was another kid up for it. And eventually my brother was no longer up for it, but he was my photo double in stand-in. Anyway, that's the blessing of having somebody that looks exactly like you.
Yeah.
But I remember my very last audition, I always tell people, I didn't even want to go in because that was the shyness in me. This is 1999. I think we filmed in 2000. So I think my last audition had to be on the cusp of 99 or early 2000. But my last one, we're sitting outside the, Clara Simon is the casting director who now does a lot of the Chicago shows. She was pretty much starting to get established then.
Oh, okay.
My mom was like, hey, come in, go in. They want her, this probably you gonna get this. And I'm like, no, you know how high my voice was in the movie. So, no, all these people sit in the room and they just stare at you and they don't say anything,
Yeah.
and I'm over here and she's bribing me. And she calls my dad on the phone. My dad was a truck driver at the time. And he's trying to convince me and say, go in, and I'm like, no, I'm not going in. And I imagine I'd have been in 6 times already.
Right.
And so she's like, I'll give you $20. $20 if you go into this audition. My brother pops his head outside the van like, Julian, do you know how many Pokemon cards we can get for $20?
Yeah.
And so pep talked me. It was another chubby kid up for the role as well. And she's like, you gonna let that, and man, I'm fat too. She's like, you gonna let that fat boy beat you up for this role? I'm over there like, no, and I do it, man. From there, they say, hey, wait here. Can we get you all's measurements? My mom like, this is different,
Right.
It's a group of us. Hey, we want to take a group picture really quick. It's different, and pretty much those people that were in that picture were pretty much the guys that were selected for the movie, man. So yeah, that was that auditioning process for Hardball by far. It was a blessing, man.
And so then, you talked about earlier that you've been playing baseball already. So then you land the role, and then I imagine they put you guys through a camp of some sort. And so what was that like, going to work on your skills to make it look as real as possible for maybe guys that hadn't played, and then the chemistry that you all guys all shared, does that still reign true to this day?
So as far as the training camp, it was great because you're around a lot of baseball players, and me being a baseball player, I was just trying to be in a movie and play baseball originally, so the landing one of the main roles on this was definitely a major, but it was a plus. But a lot of the kids that were in the other movies, these are a lot of kids that either I done played baseball with or against in our neighborhood. So,
Okay.
A lot of people, so it was like kind of like, all right, man, yeah, we play each other in real life, and now we get to play against each other in the film. And so it was challenging because the training camp, they were teaching us to be bad, because in the movie we had to be bad in the film. At first, so a lot of us, most of us played baseball. It wasn't difficult to teach us fundamentals.
Okay.
Teaching us to suck on cue is what they were more so focused on, because instinctually, if a ball is over you, you want to catch it. Right. And then just like Michael B. Jordan, he had the ball hit him in the head, and so he literally got to sit here and brace himself to catch him, have a ball hit him dead in his head, even though he didn't play baseball either. So he was one of the people that was learning the fundamentals of baseball back then. Mark Ellis is a sports choreographer. He does a lot of movies like The Replacement. He did The Longest Yard. He it keeps going on. I just watched the movie the other day. He did but he was the coach on the Orange team in Hardball, the Blue Wives. So, but he choreographs all of that stuff. So being able to work with him as well. And then when I start realizing, man, I done watched all these movies and I'm like, that's him. And I see him and he always does a little role. They give him a role in the films and he choreographs all of the sports stunts. Okay. So it's like he does both. So he'll always have a cameo in everything he does in the sport. So working with somebody like that who's been around, it was amazing. As far as the chemistry with everybody, for the most part, we talk. The only person we really don't talk to, of course, Michael B. Jordan. I mean, he kept up with it, and he blew up. Stilo or Sterling, that's the one that's on Ridiculousness. Him and Michael B. met on Hardball, and so they were best friends since then. Yeah, so that's how that relationship started. So for the most of us, we still talk. One of the guy who played the catcher, Ray, his real name is Brian Reed. Unfortunately, he was in a college shooting in like 2011, and so he's paralyzed. So I still keep in touch with his mom, and my mom and his mother are really close. And the pitcher, Miles, my mom and his mom talk all the time too. Okay. So for the most part, the chunk of us we keep in touch. At least on social media. Yeah.
Thank God for social media.
Right.
And one of my last questions on Hardball, when you're walking around and we'll get into this a little bit later too, but do people call you by, hey, that's Jefferson Albert Tibbs, or do they call you by your name? That's Julian. I mean, how do you feel when people come up to you? Because I'm sure that you get some crazy comments from time to time.
At first, happened with the notoriety and the people approaching you and recognizing you. At a younger age, I looked the same, of course, right? So it's like a high, it's like an adrenaline at first, and then you're like, man, I want to have a normal day. I want to have a normal day, and I want to be able to walk around the mall,
right?
Go to a store, and I didn't got chased out the mall 2 times when I was younger. When the movie came out, we got chased out of a movie theater. Sat in and watched my own movie. Took my aunt to see my movie, and then of course, it was expected. As soon as the lights came on, we walking out, and all these girls. My mom had to whip the van around back around the corner, and she forced us to. We jumped in the van, and then all these girls had ran to the corner, and she's like, sign autographs. I'm like, man, and it's kind of one of those days. I was like, man, I ain't really feeling it. I don't feel like signing autographs. Come on, those are fans, blah, 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 and she had me signing, we had to sign our headshots. And back then, you would print your resume on the back of it as well. So my mom blacked out our contact information with a permanent marker. But one of the girls put resume up to a light and got our phone number. She was calling our home. At an early age. When it comes to the updated times, every now and then, because clearly I'm not the chubby kid anymore. I got a little older. Yeah. I learned how to work out. You can see it in my face. So a lot of times, people more so know me for more of my TV show, like if they watch Chicago PD or Fire or stuff like that. But with Hardball, people will be like, man, you look real familiar. That's more so how I get it now. Like, you look, and they start cycling through. I'm like, well, do you go to church with me? Do you blah, blah, blah? This and that. And then I'll be trying to wait, because I sometimes I don't feel like talking about it, because I know that it's going to spark a conversation. Right. But then I'll be like, and they still going like, well, maybe you do this. I'm like, you ever seen Hardball? Guess what? And so, or sometimes people do that, forcing me to. They don't want to bring it up, So right. It's like you can tell, but sometimes I don't mind it. Every now and then it's good, just to hear the love and support that people still like. We were a part of a classic. It'll always go down in history, and it's not only a hood classic, but it's a sports classic. Right, right. It's a universal classic. So it moments, man, but they more so, like I said, they'll call me Jefferson sometimes. Some people that even know me and knew me as Julian before they found out still be calling. I'm like, hey man, like, you know, sometimes I'm like, all right, you know, cut it out. Like, but I don't mind it sometimes. But like I said, sometimes it can get overbearing with people. Sometimes when they just being obnoxious, I say.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then you know, you get off doing the movie, and then I imagine now you transitioned into a somewhat normal life, going to high school, and I think I saw somewhere where you had said prior that you know, your mom had I don't know if made a deal with you, but wanted you to experience normal life, and I guess if you wanted to come back and act, you know, the end of high school, it was your choice. Is that right?
Yes. At 13 years old, 8th grade, I'm ready to move to Hollywood. I'm like, Mom, let's go. You know, we getting a lot of auditions now. The movie has been out for 2 years at this point. And I'm like, you know, let's move to Hollywood. Like, I want to pursue it. She's like,
Yeah.
well, you know, I don't want you to be screwed up like a lot of these Disney kids. And so I appreciate her from that aspect when I look back now, you know what I mean, and see it. But she was more so saying, hey, I want you to be able to have a solid foundation so you understand your humility and where it comes from. Have a normal childhood, get an education, make real friends. And then if this is what you truly want to pursue, I need you to at least finish high school. Yes. Right. So I resented it at first, but then I grew to appreciate it over time when I got into college and everything. But there was a part that looks back at it when I was like, man, well, you know, I got a couple of people who stuck with it, you know, and look at where they are now. Now, maybe they might, man, I kind of wish I had a normal child. You know, you never know on both ends, but I look back like, man, I could have been even more established into acting, but I probably would have played pro baseball.
Right.
Probably, I mean, it wouldn't have even been my focus at that point. I probably would have never met a lot of people I've encountered in my life as well, in my normal living, you know, to a certain extent. So it's been a blessing and a curse. So yeah, my mom at 13 years old, I made a deal, said I have to finish high school before I fully pursue acting or go to college, whatever I choose to do. But I was still going on auditions, just not as much during my high school career.
And then transitioning into baseball, so then you know you get you play baseball in college, and then you're fortunate enough to play in what was it, Puerto Rico?
That was my last stint. Yes, Texas, Washington, Puerto Rico, and then I walked away from Detroit when I was in Detroit. Yeah.
So about those experiences, man. I mean, what was that like? You know, now you know you're 10 years old. You're just playing for fun, shooting a movie, even playing little league, and now, hey, this is the real thing. So what was that like?
It was great. It's a catch-22 to it. A lot of people don't talk about this aspect of it, and I talk more about it with like my clients, my mentees, and stuff like that, and their parents. But pro baseball is an opportunity that most people never get to experience. 1% gets signed or drafted, and then even less than 1% is going to make it to the major leagues, of course.
Right.
So, I was fortunate enough to have that opportunity, sign 3 contracts, 2014 to 2016. Fort Worth Cats in Texas, like I said, in 2014, 2015, Ellisburg Bulls, and 2016 was Puerto Rico in their AA, and then I went to Detroit, and then in spring training, I already had an injury. So in 2015, I partially tore my rotator cuff. So physical therapy, trying to rehab and get back. So I went and played in Puerto Rico in 2016, did really well, put up good numbers. I go to Detroit over here and play. And that was the United Shores. It was independent minor league ball. So if you're not fortunate enough to get drafted out of college, then there's a lot of alternatives to help you get the same experiences in the minor league at the minor league level, and then get into affiliate ball. So like Chicago White Sox, Cubs, all that stuff. In college, when I was getting looked at by the White Sox, I tore my UCL, which is the Tommy John baseball surgery. So once I did that, I was coming from a small school. White Sox scout pretty much said, no thanks, at that point. So that I had to circle around and see, all right, what's the best way? So the next best way was going the independent route. So I went indie ball, like I said. My first year, I played with Julio Franco, batting title champion, man.
Yeah.
Oldest person to play in the major leagues. Great opportunity learning from him and conversing with him. He was 56 when he was playing with us. He was in great shape. I mean, he remember him coming up to me and was like, "Man, you got a nice swing." I had to look around and say, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, and he's like, "You." Yeah. And I'm like, "What?" Like you said, he's like, "Yeah, man." And, and from there, I started just like, "Hey, man, how did you play? How did you stay so long?" And I'm just, and he's just giving me all of these tips and doing yoga and all this stuff, all this advice. And I remember this is the aspect a lot of people don't talk about in baseball. I'm the only rookie starting. I'm the only rookie literally in the starting lineup. Also, I'm the only Black player on the team. Now, of course, I blend in with my Dominican and Puerto Rican teammates. Right. And then with the name Julian, they think I'm Puerto Rican or Dominican, and then they see Chicago, Illinois, and they're like, "Oh, never mind. You Black." But no, but remember my mentor telling me, he said, I got signed, and he was like, I'm a catcher. So a lot of people who know me in the baseball community know that I'm a catcher primarily.
Okay.
But I could play outfield. I was signed as a catcher / outfielder. My mentor tells me, he's like, "Hey, I heard you got signed. Congrats. What position they signed you for?" I said, catcher / outfielder. And I'm at this point, I got a slight ego. You can't tell me much, at this point. And he's been trying to tell me a lot of stuff since high school, and I didn't realize a lot of things because he was a parent of somebody else on the team. But I did not know he got drafted to the Phillies either. I did not know, I'm just seeing a parent, so and I'm the best at my high school. I'm the highest recruited at my high school. Ain't nothing you can tell. I didn't did this. I had that ego. I was like, man, I'm self-taught. I ain't never had a lesson.
Wow.
I'm like, ain't nothing you can tell me. That was my thought process at that time. And I'm listening. He'd tell me, I tried. He'd be like, "Hey, try this." I tried. I don't like it. Boom, I get back to doing what I'm doing. Had no idea he got drafted to the Phillies. Had no idea he was a coach, instructor, all this stuff. When I get signed, he's like, "You want to catcher?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a catcher." He's like, "So you run a 6'7", Julian. You are the catcher who runs like an outfield." He was like, "And you're Black." And he's like, "You're probably gonna play outfield." He's like, "No, you're not gonna probably play." He was like, "They're gonna put you in outfield." I'm like, "What? Man, the Dodgers catching coach love me." This is like in front of this. Man, they said I was the best catcher there, best blocking catcher, best hitting catcher, all this stuff. He's like, "Listen, play outfield. You hit for power, but you hit more for contact." He was like, you can hit a few home runs, but it's probably not gonna be enough. You're gonna be in the corners. He described everything. He's like, "You're not gonna be a center fielder because you're not 6'4", 6'5" fast, but you can play corner outfield. You got a strong arm. You can hit. Cool." I'm like, "Man, whatever." Spring training, you see Griffith, right field. In my 3 years of playing, I've never caught a game. When you're an outfielder, outfielders are a dime a dozen.
Right.
So everybody, when you go to a tryout, you see people trying out for out. You got a whole bunch of outfielders out here, and then you have your infielders. Very few catchers, not a lot of them, but it's more outfielders because it's an easier position to handle. I never caught a game. I played corner outfield the entire time. Only Black person on the team. I was batting .500. I was the only rookie starting. I was leading the team in batting average, stats, everything. I'm an everyday starter at this point. I went on a slump. I went in a slump. Went 2 for 14 on the road. So now I'm at 324, which is still good because anything over 300 is good.
Yeah.
I have the second highest batting average on the team. So I just dropped 170 points, and I have the second highest batting average. So it will let you know, hey, how the veterans hitting. I get released. They told me Had nothing to do with my stats at all, my performance. Of course, I'm like, I got the second highest stats on the team. They said, we need more veterans on the team.
Wow.
I said, well, I cost less than the veterans. I'm playing better than most of your veterans. Why not? Show up that day. They give me my check. He calls me into the office. And they, before we hit on the field, before we have our BP for the game, they were trying out, and it's a diamond, that's a revolving door. So they're always trying people out. You could be there today and go tomorrow. Easily. It's a revolving door. Yeah. So working out another black guy that got released from the Braves organization. And he was a little older than me. I think he was like 3 years older than me at the time. And he was already going down. He hit 3 home runs and they never hit over 300. They released him a month and a half later. They swapped me out. Long story short, they swapped me out with another black guy. Just so it was like one for another, met your quota. And I started, I was like, man, I've never thought that when you're doing good, better than good, this is what you're looking for. It's still not good enough. But I watched my other teammates who were of different complexions, ethnicities, weren't doing so well, but the opportunities were still given to them. And so when I started realizing it, I come back and my instructor and my mentor told me, hey man, you have to be, unfortunately for us when it comes to baseball, being in the black community, we have to be super brother. Or he said it in a different way. I think you can take it out of context of what he really told me. You got to be, super Negro. Because the moment you're not, and the moment you become at the same level as them, you're not. You're below them. Even though all the measurables here, it looks like this, even though they're right here, but y'all equally yoked, but in their eyes, it's not. So we become more expendable. So when I started realizing that, it woke me up to a lot of different things of the politics of the game. It was, like I said, so it was a blessing to get the experience, but it just woke me up, and I was like, man, first of all, you don't even get paid enough to go through half the stuff you go through, because minor leaguers don't get paid nothing. You got to really get to AAA, and I think it's like $80,000 a year, but then you get to big bucks when you in the bigs, of course. So it's worth it if you get there. But if you get there, so it helped me get the experience and the credentials I need for something that I love to do now. But of course, everybody wants to make it to the major leagues. I battled the injuries. I battled the politics. In 2016, I made the decision to walk away from the game because the doctor pretty much told me, hey, if you keep playing, your rotator cuff is going to tear completely. So I was like, I want to have kids. I want to be able to play catch with my kids when I get older. So I decided to walk away. I turned down. I had top leagues from Germany, France, Austria, Czech Republic in 2016. I turned down those offers and walked away completely. It was tough. Went through a depression, but for the betterment of having longevity, versus the temporary satisfaction that I was chasing.
No doubt. And now if I look behind you, I see that juiced up. So you walk away and then you start something even better, man. It seems like you're I want you to explain, but it seems like you're doing the will of the good, and you're helping out other people. And what I thought was interesting was it wasn't just baseball, it was softball as well. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen that before, so if you would explain some of that too.
Yeah, my business is called Juicedupathletics. I'm a traveling baseball and softball trainer. I run camps, clinics. I do individual lessons primarily. I started doing lessons in 2015. Eventually, I built my name up enough to buy my name in 2018. I purchased the name Juicedupathletics. Okay. So I am a legal entity, corporation, everything. Went into business full-time 2019. Been in business full-time since 2019. Outside of my acting. But it pretty much it stemmed from the fact that I never had training. And in our areas, back then, it wasn't many places, or my mom didn't know of any places. Right. And so, and especially with having twins, whatever she does for one, she got to do with the other. So she ain't trying to pay for double either with a lot of stuff, So she never sought out any of this stuff.
Right.
She only had us in the Park District League baseball. I didn't know anything about travel teams. I didn't know any of this stuff existed until I got to my junior year of high school. Like All-Stars were our travel team back then. You made the All-Star team, and then you compete to try to get to Williamsport, which is the Little League World Series on TV.
Yeah.
That's what I knew. I didn't know that it was a travel team and people were getting lessons. And people I'm like, what? I'm watching TV, watching Jorge Posada, my favorite player at the time, Mark McGuire, my favorite players, and I'm watching them, and I go outside and I do it.
Right.
What I was doing, not learning the best way. So I was raw, completely raw, athletic though. So I could get away with a lot of stuff being unorthodox. Now when I got into it and I said, all right, my mentor helped me, my instructor helped me. And I said, I watched what he was doing.
Yeah.
And I said, this is the type of person I want to be. And I know I wasn't making that much money in the minor leagues. I've made 10 times over what I made in minor league ball in just the years I've been doing this, or 7 total, but 3 years of my own business. But I realized that these kids in our areas, and a lot of people come out here, instructors who they're not within the best interest of the kids, but they're just here to get a check.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm like, man, I'm watching these instructors do this, and I was like, I know my quality. I have way better quality training.
Right.
I know my credentials are either at the same level or above some of these instructors.
Right.
And I care because I also have a teaching degree. A lot of people don't know I have an elementary education, middle school, and high school science endorsement. So I graduated college. I do have an education degree. I did work for Chicago Public Schools for 5 years before I walked away in 2019 and went into this full time.
Okay.
Yes. So I already had that passion in me, but I wanted to do it at a more affordable. So now I'm not that cheap, but it's like most people are like, man, you only charge this?
Yeah.
That's the majority. But then in the minority, like, man, it's too much. And so I started Juicedupathletics. Has nothing to do with steroids, but everything to do with my nickname was Juice. People are like, Juiced Up, but I picked that name to make it a conversation starter. That's why. Yeah. So because I have shirts that say, Juicedupathletics. We got a shirt that says PEDs, persistence, excellence, determination, success, and on the back, 100% natural. So we play off of the fact that people always equate it to steroids in baseball. So, like you said, I do baseball and softball. I'm all throughout Illinois and Northwest Indiana. Okay. I'm actually working on a deal with Canada, Georgia, a couple people that are interested in doing some stuff. Alabama as well, and Arizona. So we're branching out. I just wanted people to have a chance and get it from someone who actually cares, because I'm not going to tell everybody that they're going to make it to the major leagues. Right. I would be lying to you if I told you that. But show you and give you the best skills to equip you to get as far as you can. Because if I can get you to college, then my job is done.
Yeah, you've done your job.
I've done my job. And if you're fortunate to make sure, I got some kids that I got some high potential to get drafted. Okay. And then I told them, hey man, all this work, 10% of your signing bonus. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Just thank you. I don't want nothing else. Just remember.
Remember me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I want kids to go to college because we need more. Like I said, it's 1%. 1%. So that means we got a whole 99% of the rest of the world that we got to accommodate. And I need you to be a productive member of society. So if I can instill certain qualities into you and certain mannerisms and characteristics, and mentor you in the right path and get you the most money deducted out of your college based on using this talent and skill, then I've done it. I've done my part. And that's what's most rewarding to me. I have 3 seniors this year. Both of my softball girls both got full rides this year. One to a junior college for the next 2 years, which it's a really good junior college here in Chicago, Triton. And then the other one, she got a 4-year full ride, paid for the next 4 years. in Indiana, Oakland City University. And so that's what I like to hear and see. Their parent in the long run, your parents are not spending anything for the next 4 years, and neither are you. You got a free education of your hard work and just me applying, giving you a couple drills to do, and you applying them, and then it translated on the field. Somebody thought you were worth 100%, and that's all I can ask for.
What a great service, man! Because again, like what you said is, I think is kind of what's wrong with certain people's mindsets nowadays. Is if you don't go pro or if you don't go Division I, then you're a bum. You know what I mean? And I don't understand it. Like you said, if you get them to college and they're fortunate enough to get there, then you've done your job. You know, and especially with parents not having to pay anything. I mean, that's a blessing in itself. So yeah, I really wish that mindset would change.
Oh, I got some kids, man. It's funny you mentioned that. I know kids that had the most talent, some great talent, and got offers from schools, D2s, D3s, NAIA. Said, I'm probably just going to go to Purdue and be a student. Why? Because you didn't go, I said, you got any offers? Yeah, not any big ones. Offers.
Yeah.
You're about to go be a student somewhere else, a normal student, and pay.
Yeah.
Somebody is saying, hey, come play for me. I'll pay you to play for me.
Yeah.
You're going to be a student anywhere you go.
Right. And you're going to have fun now. Yeah.
You want to have fun. Your dollar. Somebody else is willing to give you that dollar to go have fun, be a student, and still play. I never understood that. And I have kids who literally, 2 sport athletes, baseball, football, most athletic kids I've ever worked with.
Right.
The type of offers I wanted, so I'm just going to be a student. Yeah. Football, starting quarterback on a team and starting outfielder on a team, big high school in Indiana.
Yeah.
I would just go, I think I'm going to be a student because I didn't get the type of offers I want. The dumbest thing, I went Division II. I turned down my D1 offers. And then I transferred NAIA. People get drafted at D2s and NAIAs all the time. Oh, yeah. But people, the mindset, it's media, it's social media's fault.
Yes.
Because they got these kids believing if you don't go D1, that's it.
Yeah.
And I will never sit there and they're like, man, I'm going D1, drafted. They got this whole plan set up. I said, look, you can go D1 all you want. You can go to Purdue, Illinois, you can go wherever, all these schools, and sit the bench and be happy that you wearing a jersey. I said, but you ain't going to get drafted not playing. They don't look at the people on the bench. They look at the people on the field. So when you rather go somewhere where somebody say, hey, you're going to come in and play. And now you get the opportunity to be seen.
Exactly.
So, man, I got one of my baseball players, the other senior, he's getting $64,000. He got $16,000 a year for the next 4 years. He went D3 instead. And he had D1, D2 interest. But he loved the school he visited.
It's a fit.
It's a fit.
Yeah.
And they're setting kids up with jobs now. That they're paying them in your field. They're giving you internships where you get paid and you can put it towards your tuition or keep it. They're teaching you a business mindset and teaching you how to pay back your loans already. And he's like, this is where I want to go. That's simple. You can go, I can get them more money, but somebody said I'll give you $16,000. It's an expensive school, but you got $16,000 for the next 4 years, and I'm gonna show you how to save your money or put it towards your student loan. So by the time you get out of here, you got minimal debt.
Right. Can't beat that, man.
No, you can't.
You can't beat it, but I don't know. It's gonna take a whole, I mean, I don't know. We could get a whole panel of people. It won't matter, man. It's social media, and it's like it's a blessing and a curse for some.
It is. It is.
So what do you got going on next, man? Before I let you out.
On the acting side, I filmed a TV pilot last year in a film. Waiting for the TV pilot to get picked up. I got I'm supposed to do a film in New Mexico in March. It got pushed back with golly, what's his name? It's from he's in the Expendables. They're gonna hate me if they see this. I'm gonna give you the name. The guy who he tried to box. His he tried to box and he messed up his face. You'll know who I'm talking about if you ever seen the Expendables.
I've seen it. I could start running through names, man. You ain't talking about Stallone, are you?
No. I would know his name right off the bat. It's it'll come to me, but you'll watch it. As soon as we get off the interview, it's gonna come to me and you. But the guy, so I'm doing a film with them in New Mexico, a horror film. Waiting on a TV show to get picked up. I have another TV show that they're in contact and communication with the deal. And once they solidify that, then the formal offer will be given. Then we'll get that going. So we got those TV shows waiting to resume and start in the film. With the business side, I am in the process of expanding. I've been doing it as an instructor / owner for like 3 years now. And I want to get more into my ownership role. And I still want to be an instructor, but my business is me right now. I want to grow,
right,
and just take a load off. And so hopefully, God's willing, I'm able to get my own facility by the end of this year. I'm working on that right now. Some people are not gonna like it because it severs some of their things, but hey, it's business.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to grow like everybody else. So Juicedupathletics should have their own facility, should have a home facility their own in 2022.
Okay.
Where we'll have partnerships. It's a lot that's coming with Juiced Up. I'm just trying to build the generational wealth. Unlike like a lot of people talk about but aren't proactive with.
Right.
Of course, I have a daughter, so I want her to get that experience too. She's 2 years old. Well, she'll be 2 in March. Fast forward. Take your time, Julian. I don't want her to grow up any faster than she's already growing. Time flies, but
yeah.
I just want to. She'll be playing softball. She kind of likes it already. I just want to have more time with her, and pretty much I've been consumed with the business and the acting for the last 7 years. Haven't had a break. I'm taking a break from coaching and just focusing on instructing in the camps and clinics and getting the facility off the ground, so I have more time with my daughter and my music and my acting endeavors. I do sing. I do have music out, so people can go stream that. Just Julian Griffith. It's Julian Griffith on all your streaming platforms. Got an EP coming out. A few different things in the works, man. Just trying to, like I said, that generational wealth. I don't know who owns the Lakers, but everybody know LeBron James, and LeBron James is rich. But whoever owns the Lakers, that's a wealthy person. Yeah. He probably never played a lick of basketball, but he knows numbers, he knows business, and somebody's name is on the bottom of that check. And I always try to tell people that. I said I'm trying to focus more on that entrepreneurial mindset, financial freedom, generational wealth, and having the time, like I said, for my acting and really pursuing it full time like I want to. But in order to do that, you want to make sure you have passive income. So it's a lot going on, man. Like I said, the business, you all can be in tune. You can check out the business JU Athletics Life on all social media platforms. If you want to follow my journey, the Julian Griffith on all social media platforms. And my music, like I said, Julian Griffith. You can check me out, Apple Music, Spotify, everything. And yeah, man, we got some great things coming, man.
Man, I don't know how you have any free time, man. My God.
I don't, man. Usually I have my daughter in the daytime.
Okay.
So her mom's family had her today, so I could do the interview and take care of stuff. But usually at least 6 days a week, man, it's co-parenting situation, man. So when I'm not working, which is during the day, Jolie's with me, and then in the evenings, it's grind business time, man. So yeah, it is finding time, and this business is 7 days a week. So yeah, man. But you grind now so you can play later, man.
You got to, yeah. You're the example. But I appreciate you coming on and all the great work that you're doing. For me, like I said, I love the film. Me and you about the same age, I'm 31 as well. And so, the film hit with me. I was terrible at baseball, still am to this day. But yeah, last little thing. I remember when we first watched it, my mom was a fan of the movie too, and she still is, but boy, she could not get over all that cussing. Oh my gosh. Every time somebody said something, she would just look at me like, hey, don't even think about it. We still laugh about it to this day. But yeah, shout out to you for that. You're acting and you really are a light, man, and a role model, and keep doing the great work that you're doing.
Thank you, my man. Thank you, man. You too. God bless, man.
You're welcome back on anytime.
Hey, I appreciate it.
All right.